Today, I'm going to answer a few questions that were submitted by a reader. And so the questions are, how do you know you are manifesting appropriately? In the past, I have learned about manifesting using positive affirmations and strongly telling the universe what I want. However, should I have my dream want or a realistic want? Because I have tried the dream want and it has not worked. Can you clarify this? So I'm going to do my best to answer these because it's a string of questions. So hopefully I give a comprehensive answer to this. So first of all, you want to understand that you are always manifesting. At the most basic level, you're going to have to understand that in order for you to be able to use the principles of manifestation effectively, you are creating your own reality. Just like the law of gravity, you have to accept it as law. Your entire reality is a manifestation of yours. You may not understand it, just like we don't really understand gravity, but for most of us, but you just have to know it to be truth. 100% of your reality is your manifestation, and that manifestation is a direct result of your thoughts. There is no such thing as one objective reality where we all look at the same thing and we can agree on one thing. It's all subjective. We're still having arguments about flat Earth versus round Earth and climate change. So everything is based on perspective, based on our beliefs, our viewpoints, what we've grown up with. So that's, something that you want to understand. It seems like there's one reality that everyone experiences, because we have this societal construct of rules and norms and behaviors, values, ethics, all of that put together makes it seem like we're having the same experience. However, if you're looking, like, for example, at a flower, if you and I were looking at a flower, we're going to describe it differently. We won't have the same experience of it. The color, scent, shape will be different to each of us as individuals. And part of it is because of our biology. Some people have, a less sensitive sense of smell. Others are colorblind, so they're going to see different shades of colors. And so that's partly biology based, and part of it is because of our perspective, going back to how we were raised, who we were taught by. So for the most part, we agree with the one societal construct. Most of it, we can agree with. If we didn't, then, we'd move to another country or something. And that's, political refugees leave a country because their values differ so much from the ruling government. So there's really one kind of main matrix that we all plug into. We may not agree with everything, but for the most part, we're okay with it, and we can, we go along with it. And then we get shaken because there's often something that we want that doesn't fit into that matrix. And for you, it's having a baby in your 40s. For someone else, it's going to be different. For me, it was about, being a successful entrepreneur as a single mom. So that doesn't really fit into the, main matrix, right? So again, for you, it's about having a baby in your 40s. You now have unplugged from everyone else because your value, your ideas about that issue is so different from the collective consciousness. The collective consciousness is basically the message that your fertility falls off a cliff at age 40, depending on, what source you go to. Some doctors are making it 35, as early as 35. So that's kind of the collective conscious. For the most part, it's 40. And so at that point, when you're kind of running up against, against the mainstream, you're going to have to decide if you want to go along with what everyone else says, drink the same Kool-Aid, or if you want to manifest something different from what others tell you is or is not possible. The appropriateness of your manifestation is a judgment on your part. Instead of judging your manifestations, use them as indicators of where your thoughts and beliefs are. The manifestations themselves are neither good nor bad. They just are. They're just data relaying to you your internal state of mind. So if you don't like your manifestations, then that means you have some calibrating to do. If you like your manifestations, then that means that your mind and your heart are aligned. And we all have areas where we manifest more easily than others. With rare exceptions, no one is going to be good at manifesting everything that they want. So some are going to have more difficulty in relationships and finances, close friends and family. For you, it's your baby. There's no right or wrong, deserved or not, fair or unfair. It just is. And so this is going to be the area, your motherhood journey is going to be the area where your growth lies. My personal growth lies in intimate relationships and finances. Friends, family, baby, those aren't issues for me. For someone else, it's going to be different. It just is. So part of this journey is really to be able to accept that and stop fighting it. And you fight it by putting up resistance, by saying how unfair it is that other women can get pregnant so easily, by feeling jealous of others who are pregnant or have newborns. It would be like me resenting you because you found your soulmate, while I'm still single. What you have has nothing to do with what I can manifest for myself. And in fact, the way that I approach it is I see it as confirmation that it's possible. If you can have it, why can't I? And that's what I encourage people to do in terms of their motherhood journey is when they do see the cute little babies, when they see pregnant women, because you're going to walk through life and you're going to see everyone pregnant. I don't walk through, I rarely see pregnant women because my radar is not tuned to it. It's, it's that whole situation when you buy a new car, all of a sudden you see the same cars. It's because your focus is on the pregnancy, on the babies, that you see it all over the place. So instead of resenting it or feeling jealous about it, use them as confirmations that, what you want is coming to you. And that's what I would suggest. So positive affirmations and strongly telling the universe what you want really only works if you don't contradict them with your doubts and fears. If you can hold the frequency of the positive affirmations and your intentions, then the manifestation will come. If you've been disappointed in the past, it's because you couldn't hold it steady enough. You kept dipping in and out of the desire of it and then the doubt of it. So you would go back and forth, and what ends up happening is you couldn't manifest it because the doubt, the negative aspect, you gave it more airtime than what you actually wanted. And that's the case for a lot of women on their motherhood journey in their 40s, is they spend a lot more time in what's not possible, what the struggle is, what their blocks are, what the perceived difficulties are. They spend a way more time, quantity of time in that space than they do in living the dream and imagining and visualizing the dream and the vision. And so that's really, and so again, that goes back to, you look at your manifestations as an indicator of how aligned you are, how aligned your mind and your heart are, and where you're spending most of your time thinking about things. All right. So some people, in terms of like spending the time with your visualization, some people are considered specific manifestors, and others are non-specific manifestors. Sometimes you're a mix of both styles of manifesting. The way manifesting is generally taught works for specific manifestors. Things like using the vision boards and writing out what you want. So like if you're trying to manifest, a partner, you would write the qualities that he has, what he's going to look like, just getting into the specifics of that. If you wanted a house, you would talk about what the house is going to look like, what the decorations are, where it's located, all of that. And so the more detailed, the better. That's the method for specific manifestors. Then there's the other style of manifesting, which is the non-specific manifestor. And that's actually what I am. I'm almost exclusively a non-specific manifestor. So for example, for non-specific manifestors, for the house, they wouldn't really talk about the details of it. They would talk about how they're going to feel in the house. They're going to feel comfortable. They're going to feel like it's a safe haven. They're going to feel at peace. That's what they're focused. That's where the focus should be on, is on the emotions as opposed to the specific requirements. You know, in the case of a home, I would focus as a non-specific manifester. I'd focus on how I want to feel inspired in my home with lots of natural light, and you know, feeling really content when I can watch the sunset as I eat dinner with my partner. So I feel, you know, that content, that expansion of seeing the natural light. That's what I would focus on. If I wanted to manifest more money, as a specific manifester would talk about how much money they want to manifest in a specific amount of time. For me, as a non-specific manifester, I talk about, I tell myself and how I want to feel. So with money, I want to feel secure. I want to feel at ease. I want to feel comfortable and free. And so I really focus on that. I get what I want as a non-specific manifester because I get what I want in terms of kind of the emotions being fulfilled, but doesn't usually show up the way that I expect it to. And I've learned to allow the universe to bring whatever it wants to me and to just enjoy the surprise of it. And I'm super thrilled with the manifestations. That's how non-specific manifestors work. So you want to look at your history of manifesting, and you can tell which way you tend more towards. You know, I haven't told my clients, so I don't really know the breakdown. I think most people are specific manifestors or a mix. I think actually relatively few people are purely non-specific like me, but again, that's a complete guess. So regardless of how you manifest, if it's really your heart's desire to have a baby, then you have the resources to make it happen. Otherwise, you wouldn't have this huge drive to be a mother, to have a baby. Your higher self wouldn't want it. It is within your capability if you really want it, heart and soul. And so, you know, whether or not it's realistic based on societies and an individual's expectations, like your doctor, that's going to be quite arbitrary. And you really want to recognize that, you know, they just kind of put a cutoff of the age of 40 for really, because it sounded good. It sounded about right. So, but, you know, and it could be 40 for some people, it could be 30s for others, or it could be 50s. So, you know, you don't want to buy into the stories that other people say, because honestly, you don't know the truth of it. And so you want to be able to use your own imagination for the best case scenario. The best case scenario is that whatever age you are while you're trying on the motherhood journey, you are perfectly healthy, you're completely fertile, and your body's ready, or you're getting your body to be ready. So, you know, in other cultures, we've forgotten that women get pregnant in their 40s and 50s all the time. And we just don't hear about it because they're not on social media announcing it. And, you know, they just don't care enough to announce it on social media. They're not social media influencers. And so it's just a way of life for them. I hear that all the time about how, like, you know, a person's grandmother or mother had kids into their 40s and sometimes even in their 50s. And I bet if you asked about your family history, you might find that your grandmothers had children into their 40s. The one major difference that is like the huge caveat is that many of you are having your first child in your 40s, whereas in previous generations, they started earlier, probably in their 20s, and just kind of kept on going. So because you're the first generation of a significant number of women trying to conceive, you know, for the first time in your 40s, and that's because of, you know, women's ability to be in the workforce, really focusing on their career, you know, meeting their significant others later in life, and us having the freedom to be able to choose what we want to do. This is really, you are really the first generation of like just a large number of women in their 40s trying to get pregnant for the first time in the 40s. And so recognize you're the leaders, and as the leaders, you're breaking the mold. So you're going to have to be okay with taking on that mantle, because that means that you're no longer part of the collective. And so because you're kind of splitting off from the collective, it is a little bit uncomfortable. And, and that's kind of part of the work that you have to do, is really being confident enough in yourself and trusting enough in yourself to be able to continue on the journey, even though, everyone else around you may not be in the same situation, as you. So, just kind of really owning up to it, and just being really aware of what you really want and why you really want your baby. For some of you, and it's a really small minority, but you are out there because I have worked with you, having a baby is not your soul's calling, but it's rather a product of societal conditioning and expectation, or it's FOMO. It's the fear of missing out because everyone else around you has, their baby, the white picket fence. And so how do you know the difference? When you think about having a baby, it doesn't feel good. That's when you know that it's not your heart's desire, and it's more likely due to social conditioning. Anything that is your true heart's desire should instantly light you up and give you joy thinking about it, thinking about it manifesting. If instead you feel this sinking feeling or this tightness in your body, you'll have to look at why you react this way when thinking about having your baby. And, if this is you, there's nothing wrong with wanting something different from what society is telling you. But that initial hit of thinking about having your own baby, it should really light you up. It should not fill you with dread and just worry and stuff like that. That the doubts may come in after that initial excitement, but there should still be, when you're thinking about having your baby and holding their baby, you shouldn't start going into your head about like, how is this going to happen? How I'm going to juggle my schedule. Like, it just becomes this like whirlwind of logistics. And for me, that's kind of a telltale sign that it's probably not a really like a real true heart's desire. Because if it really was really within like your higher self's calling to have a baby, which for most of you it is, your baby isn't showing up most likely because you're unable to face the negative circumstances with calm and resolve. Your manifestations are not going to show up right away. I'm actually really often surprised at how fast people jump into IVF, or they start panicking. And it's often within a few months of trying. And even if you've been trying a few years, I'll bet that you started doubting yourself really early on, like within those few months. And then women start reacting emotionally when it seems like it's taking too long, and thinking that they can't manifest what they want. And I see people give up on their manifestations rather than taking control of the situation by truly understanding how manifestation works. If you want your baby and it's really what your heart desires and not your ego, and you have to be clear about where it's coming from, then it's yours. And in order for that baby to come, you need to learn how to control yourself first and foremost. Control your reactions to the situations, to what's being shown to you, what's being thrown at you. Oftentimes you feel like, you're subject to life, like you're at the whim of life. You got to control yourself. And then when you are able to do that, your environment's going to bend to your will. It will bend. And it will shift. It's just, you want to give it time. And I often don't see people giving it enough time. They get so impatient. And I'm just really surprised at how little time people give it. If you're in your 40s, realistically, you should, or you're probably already past the stage of really just giving yourself a year. I'm serious, a year of just doing the preparation of really connecting with your soul and really getting to know yourself, really making it about your soul's journey. And when you do that, you can show up in such a different way. Your frequency is going to be high. Your manifestations will change. Your entire environment, your world will change. And that's really going to be the key. Instead of focusing on the baby so much, bring it into about your soul's journey. And when you do that, then life will just unfold so much more easily and in such a much more blissful way. Okay. So I hope I answered those questions and that woman thoroughly enough. So, Anyway, if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to get notified of new videos on this channel. I'm Julie Chang, and I'm here to help women in their 40s manifest their healthy baby. I hold live masterclasses where I answer questions from women on the motherhood journey, and I post clips here on YouTube. I also help women in my group and one-on-one programs. So click the link in the description below to join my email list to stay updated on my offerings. Thank you for joining me today, and see you soon.